Brian Adams goes on the Cowhead radio show in Tampa, and Brian Adams is tight with Randy Savage in this era.
Very.
And he's critical of how you and your dad, it's just said the Jarretts, were treating his buddy Randy Savage. He said they had snuck Savage into the building to keep his appearance a secret, but then Hogan walked in where fans could see he was there, and everyone made a big deal about Hogan being there when they knew Savage hated him. He said the Jarretts knew it was unprofessional. I guess Savage felt like if he was there, that nobody he likes or doesn't like should be allowed to be there. It's unprofessional. This is directly from the Observer.
Yeah.
Hogan was very popular with all the guys and was telling people that he'd been talking to Vince, but Vince wants him to come in and just put guys over, and he doesn't want to do that. Hogan was told that for the first time, because Vince's business is so bad, TNA is more high profile on FSN right now, and the ball is in his court more than Vince's. Savage was also said to be nice to everyone. Some were concerned about him mentally because they know how he had been in the past, and he didn't seem to remember some folks that he had worked with a lot in the past. He was friendly to everyone and did say, for the sake of the business, if Hogan came in, he'd work at trying to get along with him and would do a feud if he was asked. I find all of this fascinating. Talk to me a little bit about, was there an issue with Randy being there at the same time Hogan was?
All right. So you got to factor in Jimmy Hart on some level.
I want to mention that Savage has even demanded, this is a report from the Observer, that if I come back, Jimmy Hart has to stay away from me the entire time or else I'm not going to be there. And I guess there was a nasty confrontation between Jimmy Hart and Randy Savage. They were arguing about Hulk Hogan on the Man Cow radio show before, and he's on Savage's no-fly list now too. And the idea that somebody doesn't like Jimmy Hart to me is baffling.
So can you give a real 30,000 viewpoint where the Hogan Savage relationship or the backstory? Because I believe this was right during the era of the all-time worst, because they later reconciled and all that, but they were estranged at this time.
Well, Hogan says they reconciled. Did they really?
Okay.
Hogan also body slammed Andre the Giant, and he died the next day, brother.
Okay. So I don't know. Here's what I do know is, by Randy's request, he always wanted to fly under the radar.
Yes.
And okay, Randy, that's it. We won't make a big to do about it. When you come in and out, you tell us what you want to do. That was that. Hogan showing up unexpectedly from the time he showed up. And look, you got to remember my father and Hogan's relationship, the Memphis, and the Hulk up is the Jerry Lawler, pull your strap down. All the lineage and the deep roots of Hogan and my dad and Lawler and just all of it goes way, way back. But Hogan showing up and making some noise strategically, how long was it before he was back on SmackDown after this era? Not long. I don't think long at all. I think was inside of 12 months. But it was much to do about nothing, because we had kind of flirted with Hulk as well. But at this time frame of everything, we weren't having conversations with Hulk about him coming on board. The other 10 times we did prior to this, but at this time, and it was just much ado about nothing. They're both Florida guys, both live in Tampa, and they both made the drive over. And I think we're just kind of kicking the tires. And it was said back then, and I had no reason to believe it wasn't true. Oh, Hogan's just kind of jerking the WWF's chain at the time. He's just letting folks know he's there. So he advertised he was going to be there to whoever would listen. And Savage was really trying to do a little business with us, or wasn't sure of it, but he was kicking the tires to truly, like, again, he was at a different place in his career. He did not want to, his health, his physical health, he wasn't the same Macho Man. Just all the uncertainties of a guy who's just unsure of himself as far as from a physical component. And then I don't think he really knew where he wanted his career to go. I mean, when you think about the Randy Savage rap album, like what was the mindset there? I don't know. And again, the Hollywood avenue that I know at times he wanted to, and then that never went anywhere. So I'm trying to just kind of say it as soft as I can. He was really at a mental crossroads in his life. And when you have a super competitive guy like Randy, it wasn't easy on him at all.
So not easy that he no shows. You guys don't give up on him because he's a big star. You keep talking. A few days later, and it's decided, okay, let's go ahead and announce the match. Turning point, December 5th. That's what we're looking for in Orlando, Universal Studios. It's going to be Savage, Jeff Hardy, and AJ Styles taking on Jeff Jarrett, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall. That's the way it was announced originally. We know that that's going to change up a little bit. But how about this? Jarrett, Hall, and Nash are going to come out and beat up on the three faces as well as Shark Boy. And then here comes Savage. He's got this big coat on, doesn't take it off again, but he's going to punch you. And the heels are going to continue to taunt Savage from the ramp. But when you saw Randy, like, hey, here's what I'm wearing on TV: black hat, black gloves, black long leather jacket, black pants, black belt. I mean, I know that this is a unique look for Randy. Do you think he was self-conscious about being big enough, and that's the reason he's wearing all black like this?
Well, black makes you look small to begin with, but here was what I was mesmerized. Okay, so if you would have put Madness on that shirt, he would have looked like he did in WCW in the late 90s. Did he look like the superpowers? Of course not. Did he look like IC champ? Of course not. Did he look like Macho Madness? No. But did he look good? Yeah.
I'm just saying he's wrestling in a t-shirt and he's wearing a full black coat. I know you said, oh, black makes you smaller, but he's essentially wearing a bodysuit here.
Is that the worst thing when you kind of look back over the history of Randy's career?
No, not at all. I'm not saying anything's bad about it. You've said pretty clearly that mentally he was at a crossroads and struggling. I'm just wondering, do you think him not presenting like he used to was part of that?
Yes. I think he was insecure about himself, presentation wise. And I can remember my dad telling him, Randy, you look great. You look fantastic. You're not going to look like you're 25 years old. And when I look at those pictures of Scott and Kevin in those Elvis suits, we did a pre-tape, and those guys cracked me up for 2 hours. And I'm like, guys, I got to get back to producing and getting things done. But yeah, that 6-man tag was one for the ages, but we worked around everything. And I remember me and AJ, and I'm like, AJ, me and you, pal, we just got to figure this thing out. And we did. Look, is it a Mac Classic? No. But it was what it was.